Sit back, relax, and strap it down. White Sox baseball coming your way.
Hey, how's everyone doing out there? Welcome to the Word Hole Media presentation of Major League A-Hole's Sox Top Thing, presented by Revolution Brewing. I'm Pete.
I'm Ryan. Welcome to Sox Type Thing, presented by Revolution Brewing. On a thirsty Thursday, you got a beer over there?
I got a hazy pitch.
You do. I have a beer that will remain nameless. It is in a clear glass. I wish it was a tasty Revolution Brewing product, but alas, I did not have any in my refrigerator. That is a failure on my part. I'll remedy that situation soon. But what's that?
I would say our friends over there just decided out of the blue to give me some hazy pitch. I didn't ask for it. When I went to pick up our allotment.
Is that their like Chicago Fire beer?
Yeah, it is.
Nice.
Yeah, it is. And it is. I got to tell you, I'm a big fan. Went in with I never had it. I just never had it. Never tried it.
I dig hazies. I dig hazies, especially when it's 90 degrees out.
And it is. And it is 90 out here today. 94. Nice. It is juicy-licious.
Very refreshing. Damn, I'm jealous. I've got an IPA over here. I can't be too jealous. It's pretty fucking good. So what am I complaining about? We're doing a baseball podcast, drinking beers, talking White Sox. You've got a new way to frame some things. Where your first idea was good, bad, and the ugly. That's a little bit cliche. So we took it to the other extreme. This is not cliche at all. It's what you call it? The Dookie.
We got
the bomb diggity versus the Dookie.
Yeah, Smitty called me out, said, "Oh, real original, good, bad, and ugly." I said, "Well, let me go to the urban thesaurus because that's more of our brand, like doing something out of an urban."
I'm gonna question that, but I think you're confusing vulgarity that we've based this brand on with sophomoric humor.
Yeah, well, a little bit
of
both.
Difference.
I think there's a little bit of both, but
we're also 50-year-old men trying to talk like 13-year-old kids.
I believe we grew up in the bomb diggity era and the Dookie era, which is why I picked it.
That was my next. Okay, so you're way ahead of me because I was thinking that is not like the norm, like the new lingo. That sounds like it's from like 30, 40 years ago.
This is our lingo. We got to stick with we got to do age appropriate. I wasn't going to say this is sus. This is sus, and this is the sauce or whatever. The sauce and the sus. I don't know.
Maybe we'll keep workshopping this, but
this isn't. By the way, folks, for sure this time this is not necessarily the baked version of this, but I thought it would be a little more fun. We don't really have a little Rusa Palooza this week unnecessarily. I
might drop one in somehow. I love the intro I made last week, so I might just drop it in no matter what.
So I thought it would be good to talk about the good things and the bad things. So this is how we got there.
We're missing the ugly things. So
yeah, well,
that's fine.
They're the same basically.
You also came up with great moments in Wrath of Han history, which I can't wait to talk about. I know exactly where you're going. You have some tweet bag notes. Then we have some shit you couldn't make up. I actually have a couple of shits you couldn't make up about the White Sox this week. So did I miss anything? Is that your list?
Oh, well, you missed the news segment, This Day in White Sox Misery.
Oh, wow.
A look at a historic moment that
happened today.
A Dookie spot on the franchise.
All right. I think we got to work on this Dookie thing. But I'll edit in something else in post-production.
Well, the chair makes a farting sound, so it all works.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Anyway.
You were definitely confusing vulgarity with sophomoric humor now, but let's go ahead and jump into the news.
All right. Well, we're going to jump into the bomb diggity portion of this podcast. And I like that you just laugh in pain every time I say that. So the first thing I want to talk about is last week's Ask Hole question. Can Lucas Giolito turn it around? What's his situation? And we
not
talked
quite what I asked, but
no, would he be in the playoff on your playoff pitching rotation?
Correct.
And still the answer is no, but definite maybe, because against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. He went 6 innings, allowing 2 runs with 6 strikeouts. That included 4, 2 each against Ohtani and Trout. One that was one of the most embarrassing visions I've ever seen of Shohei Ohtani since he's been in the major leagues, where he threw in just nasty 82-mile-an-hour changeup that Ohtani swung through and swung at it so hard and so early that he twisted around and his helmet flew off. It was not a great at bat. But the big news of what I saw out of Lucas Giolito that game was the fact that his slider had vertical movement to it.
That was your analysis, that he had no movement or anything and his velocity was down.
Yeah.
And every pitch kind of looked the same, and it was a similar velocity. So that's big. He listened to you.
Well, I think,
why don't you just get some more vertical movement on that ball?
You son of a bitch. Get some vertical movement on that ball. So definitely going in the right direction. But
even though the Sox lost that game, did you lose that game?
We did lose that game. He left with the lead.
Yeah, not his fault.
They flashed some stats up on Ronaldo Lopez on how he's not allowed to run, not allowed to walk.
Jinxed
him.
The
last 11 innings with 17 strikeouts, and he walked the first batter.
Classic broadcast jinx.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Way to go, Stoney and Benetti, you sons of bitches.
I blame the graphics department on that. I mean, this is as a graphic designer by trade, I will always blame the designer for these jinxes.
Well,
I didn't have to put that stat up there.
That's the production department as a whole. Jason, I guess Jason and Steve are just pawns in this game. In this web of jinx. Moving along into the bomb diggity portion of this show. Josh Harrison, who I kind of teased on last week, he is having one hell of a June. His OPS is up to 912 now.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, 912 for June. So I thought it'd be funny. And I didn't know which way this was going to go when I had this idea. So I was going all in no matter what. But, in the offseason, there was a lot of speculation on possible trades the White Sox could make for a second baseman.
We speculated directly on in the whole podcast. And you had I think you had 8 different options they could have traded for it.
I went with common ones that, even though definitely one on this list we didn't think would ever happen, but on Twitter it was one that was talked about. But I went with five folks. We got Adam Frazier. I'm going to go with worst to best, and this is OPS plus.
You're starting this today, not what you based on. I'm confused. We were talking about what you did before, but you're starting a new list.
Well, this list of second base candidates is
that they could trade for today.
No. I apologize. This is we're comparing Josh to the other individuals who could have landed at second base possibly for the White Sox in the offseason, because it's much talked about that we should DFA Josh Harrison on Twitter, like over and over again. DFA Harrison, DFA. So would we have ended up that much better at second base without Josh Harrison?
I see.
We'll start, and we're just measuring OPS plus because everyone seems more fascinated with offense than defense. I like a good mix of both, as the White Sox definitely need good defense. But Adam Frazier, second baseman, now for the Seattle Mariners, has an OPS plus of 73.
Ooh. 100 is average in the major leagues.
Thank you. So yes, correct.
Just if someone doesn't know what OPS plus means, any of those plus stats means the plus means if you take 100, that is the average. If you see a number above 100 or below 100, that tells you if they're above or below average.
A common something you and I dismissed immediately, but people thought it could happen was, I mean, I guess I did tease it a little bit, but that Javi Baez could come over. Maybe Tim would move to second, or he could move to second. One that was not a good idea for either because they're both
elite
I don't remember, shortstop.
I don't think that wasn't our idea.
Yeah, it wasn't our idea, but we did like talk about it for a split second. But anyway, Javi is at a plus 80 OPS plus, but that is trending upward.
80, yeah. Wait, did you say what Josh Harrison's?
Well, no, I'm getting to that next.
Oh, the dramatic reveal. I'm sorry. I'm ruining your entire segment here.
Yeah. Why don't you just shut up?
I'll back up. Wait, let me mute myself.
Up next at 88 is a tie to a very expensive second baseman in Marcus Semien and a very reasonably priced Josh Harrison are both at 88.
Oh, there's the dramatic reveal we were waiting for. That's interesting.
Yeah, so folks out there who are still complaining we didn't get Marcus Semien, maybe be thankful right now.
I mean, there's a very different upside versus what.
Well, unless he's trending downward and Josh Harrison signed for 1 year and then you're stuck possibly with Marcus Semien for 5 years of an 88 OPS plus. So
yeah, okay.
Possibly.
I mean, that's the most negative potential outcome of Marcus Semien that anyone could imagine. So
yeah. And it's the most negative outcome of Marcus Semien anyone could imagine happening right now this year. So
well, not for the entirety of his contract.
No, I know. Right. Yeah. And then Trevor Story,
who started out terribly.
Yeah, he's at 97. So he's 3% below the OPS plus average. But I would say probably if you looked at his OPS plus over the last month, he's above that 100 easily. So, but for the season so far, he's resting at 97. So interesting that
low average,
that everyone just about who could, everyone pretty much who could fill that hole has been
below
average. So, and some at very, very steep costs. So we'll see how the year plays out, but I just thought that was fun. I don't believe Marcus Semien or Trevor Story are done with where they're going to end up. I just thought it was funny at this point in time in a couple months into the season.
Some might refer to this as cherry picking, but that's all right. This is what we do.
That's what we do. Yeah. Not cherry picking. It's what we're at today.
Well, you also didn't mention the other candidates that you brought up before the season started. So,
well, these are just free agents that were possibilities of them getting, not trades. Right. So, another interesting. The next two bomb diggities also are Daduki too. So,
wow, this is already confusing.
Yeah, that's why we're going to end with these two. So we got Jake Berger, who's got an 887 OPS for the month of June, and he has earned his own burger in Roscoe Village at a Praise Burger joint that is all over top 10 lists of places to get Chicago burgers, called The Region. It is I guess the owners are White Sox fans or at least baseball fans. Yeah, wow. At least baseball fans. And they heard that Jake likes a turkey burger with cheese. I think it's American cheese, bacon, and an over easy egg. So they have created the Jake Burger on their menu. And
what are your thoughts on the egg on a burger?
I'm fine. I love the original Kuma. They are kind of the pioneers of that one. That's the one that put them on the map.
Bar and Buena by my old place always had that. I think it was the Bob Burger or the Buena.
I've had a lot of Bobs in my life.
I'm just not a fan. There's something I'm a scrambled eggs guy anyway, and for my breakfast, or an omelet guy more than anything. But so the idea of the over easy egg, just it kind of grosses me out. It never made sense to me. I know that, like, there's so many different things they put on burgers now, like peanut butter burgers and everything else that's happening. I just give me bacon and cheese. That's cheddar cheese, by the way. It's got to
be old man. Give me a burger with pickles, onions, and mustard and ketchup.
No, fuck all that. Just Mustard, ketchup, bacon, cheddar cheese. Everything else is da dookie in my mind.
You are an exciting individual over there.
I am very excited.
And to close out the good portion of this White Sox segment, Eloy Jimenez hit a no-doubter for Charlotte last night, 104.8 miles an hour off the bat to left field. His first homer since coming back.
What day are we now on his comeback of 20 games or whatever it is?
Five.
We're on day 5. So
yeah. So that'll lead us into the bad, also known as Smitty likes to call it, the Dookie. Since Eloy has been on his rehab, this also includes his pre-rehab before the typical type of pain injury he had that shut him down for more than 5 days. He has after the home run last night, he has a whopping OPS of 507. And before that home run, it was at 417. It's not been good. The home run was his first hits in his fifth. Actually, let me try the 4th game back.
Oh, okay.
I don't see him returning unless this homer, suddenly leads to some sort of,
you never know,
some sort of streak that sees him getting his legs back and his timing back. But I see majority of that 20 days probably being used up, which would maybe put him coming back like right the weekly, the All-Star break, the All-Star games, July 17th. Probably around July 10th-ish, maybe a little bit before that. So I guess the question then is, well, he's going to have to come back because he has to come back. He's on a rehab. He's considered on a rehab assignment. So he does have to come back within 20 days or sooner. So,
that's like an MLB rule. I didn't even know that. So that's where that 20 days came from.
Yeah. That's an actual time limit.
I see. Yeah, they can't just have him rehabbing forever.
Right. So,
wow. I'm surprised by that because you'd think different injuries would require a different amount of time back. So maybe that's when they decide to actually start that timetable. That's the first time I've ever heard that. It makes sense, but
which I think is why they removed. To reset that is why he was removed. Remember how I said I can't find him on the roster?
That answers our question is why are they even telling us about this? Like they could make up any timetable they want. They don't have to make themselves, look foolish by starting a timetable and then stopping it and starting it over again. But if that's by rule, then I guess that makes a lot more sense. But I just never heard that before.
The only reason I even found that out was because of that Giants trade with I talked about in the hole a couple of weeks ago with Steven Duggar, how he had to be
household name Steven Duggar.
Yeah, right, exactly. He had to be either traded or released because his 20-day rehab was over in the minors.
My God. You don't want to end up releasing Eloy by mistake, do you?
Well, I trust
Cubs might pick him up.
Be doing that, but anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I've completely derailed your segment. I apologize.
Moving on.
As I'm sitting here smugly wearing my Tigers hat and t-shirt, ruining your White Sox podcast.
A real powerhouse. The Burger hasn't played since the home series on June 26th, despite the aforementioned 887 OPS in June. So if you want to talk about a little La Russa Palooza,
I do.
Cue it up because that could be a La Russa Palooza.
Yeah. I'll drop it in right here.
I mean, he does have some pretty horrific road splits with home splits.
Okay.
But
does Lori Garcia have better splits?
No, exactly.
That's going to be by the way, this is a dramatic reveal of my end of show. One of my shits you couldn't make up is going to be about Lori Garcia. So buckle up.
Oh, I can't wait. I probably know that one too.
I think you do.
Also under La Russa Palooza could easily follow the next two.
Maybe that's what the Dookie is. It's just La Russa Palooza. I mean,
but the home record this year is 16-21 for the White Sox. I mean,
you used to dominate at home. What the
fuck
happened?
They don't hit home runs at home. They have more road home runs. They have more road homers than they do in a homer-friendly ballpark that they play in.
I found some weird Twitter gif that just says, "You have no power." It looks like some guy from, I don't know if it's, you're more about Lord of the Rings and all that shit. Maybe it was Game of Thrones, but some ancient dude. You have no power. That's exactly how you describe the White Sox right now. What the fuck?
They hit a lot of
the power go?
They hit a lot of. They love to hit the ball on the ground this year. They seem to have launched. Thank God for Gavin Sheets. I know, and we'll get to that during the tweet bag. But he has an uppercut swing, and I enjoy it because he hits the ball in the air more than any other probably White Sox player. And that's what they need to do.
Yeah.
And Johnny Cueto the other night, who I probably should have put that under the good too, because he had another.
We're working on this. It's a new segment, people. We'll figure this out eventually.
I'm trying to try to compact the biggest highlights, but Cueto had another good outing. He pitched through some back pain, but when he let up what looked like a fly ball to left field, he immediately came in the dugout and told the guys, hit the ball in the air to left. I let up a fly ball just left the ballpark. And that was the next inning. The Sox ended up hitting the 2 homers in the 11-4 blowout over the Angels. But
they should have listened to him the whole weekend.
Yeah, maybe. Continuing on, our defense this past week, 6 errors over 7 games. Not good. 4 of those errors were in what I would call the most ridiculously played series of the year against the Baltimore Orioles, for Christ's sake, where they lost 3 out of 4 games at home. They made every Orioles pitcher look like they were a freaking Cy Young candidate when most of them had ERAs over 5.
Orioles looked like a legit team. Like the way they played defense that whole series was impressive. They had clutch hitting. They look legit.
Their outfield made plays. There's a ball that expected batting average from Jose Abreu was 991.
Oh. Wow.
Yeah.
But I think it sounds like an excuse, and I always made fun of Hawk Harrelson for saying, but it's not who you play, it's when you play them. But I think you played the Baltimore Orioles at the absolute wrong time, because you guys are struggling to tread water, and they look fantastic.
Yeah,
I think it was a lot of bad timing. But yeah, I mean, the Cedric Mullins play, multiple plays by Mullins, all their outfielders were making incredible plays the whole series, it felt like.
Yeah, Jake Berger had that ball that looked like it was going to drop for a double down the line, and I can't remember the right fielder's name. He makes this insane diving catch.
Mount Rushmore, they had weird names. Hayes was one guy.
Oh yeah, it was
Mount
Hayes.
Carmel, Mount
Hayes.
Something.
Mount Carmel.
I don't know what his name was.
High school the whole high school was playing the outfield.
He was good.
No wonder they couldn't let a ball fall. That first game of the series was the most painful for me. The White Sox had multiple doubles that were just erased off the board by that outfield. I mean, in fact, similar balls have been hit in this recent Anaheim series, and they were doubles against Anaheim's outfield, because your top guy is Trout, but outside of that, their outfield is average outside of Trout. So I don't know. It is what it is. They don't, like you said, they are treading water, and they don't need to run into a team like the Baltimore Orioles when they're playing their best ball of the year.
AL East.
I mean, if you look at it, all we've been hearing about is, as we went into that Toronto series, that they had the weakest schedule, for the rest of the year, and they have a losing record so far.
Yeah, so now you're going to San Francisco.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe it's you guys split, so maybe we can take 2 out of 3.
My Tigers. We're bringing up my Tigers again on Sox type thing. Yes, my Tigers with the victory yesterday in San Francisco.
Maybe there's an AL Central hex on the NL West, perhaps.
Wow.
I don't know. Maybe we'll see. I'm sure the Sox will find a way to lose. The last part is
what segment is this? LaRussa-Palooza or what are we in now?
We're doing the last segment of
Dookie?
The Dookie, and it's about Wes Helms. So Wes Helms was the manager of the Charlotte Knights, and as of yesterday, he was put on indefinite leave. The reason he was put on indefinite leave was he was also the bench coach for Omar Vizquel, and you may remember part of the Birmingham Barons back in 2019, where Vizquel has been sued and accused of sexually harassing an autistic bat boy. Turns out Wes Helms is part of that suit. I think things may have finally come to a head where stuff is brought out illegally in court that he was part of the allegations that he mocked. He also mocked this bat boy for the transgressions that Vizquel allegedly did to him. So,
oh my God, I don't know anything about this.
Yeah,
I never heard about the Vizquel stuff at all.
We talked about it.
Did we?
Yeah,
I don't remember this.
On In the Hole. Yeah, we talked about it on In the Hole
in 2019.
Last year or earlier this year when the news came out. So,
wow.
I think he was our asshole. He was our asshole of the week.
Omar Vizquel?
When the news broke. So,
boy, maybe I'm blacking out. I don't remember any of that. That's crazy.
So anyway, so it looks like Wes Helms' days with the White Sox are over, and rightfully so. But it's just a disturbing story on so many levels. I hate to even bring it up, but I think since we already covered part of it, we'd be remiss if we didn't cover that part of it. So,
yikes.
But it sort of falls
awkward transition out of.
It sort of falls under bad things that happen with the White Sox organization since Rick Hahn has been GM. So,
is this where we get into great moments or great moments in Wrath of Hahn history?
Great moments in Wrath of Hahn history, and
is that what we're gonna call it? I just made that up before the show.
Yeah, but. I mean this is probably an event we will talk about yearly as we did last year, but we didn't. I was on the road last week, and I kind of forgot that it actually, when we did the show, was the actual anniversary of the Chris Sale cutting up the softball White Sox jerseys.
Yeah, the dark. The 70, what year is it? 78?
76, yeah, 77, 76.
Okay, the dark version with the collars, the big socks. It's essentially a blouse. I mean, I guess I can understand why Chris Sale would not want to wear that, especially since it fits completely differently than a typical major league uniform, that it might kind of fuck up his pitching, but his reaction in his solution to the issue was not professional, I guess you could say.
That's definitely one way of putting it. It's also the act of a crazy person. I mean,
it helped usher him out of the White Sox organization eventually.
He was traded that December after the incident. But this week,
new shit has come to light.
Yes, new shit has come to light where Rick Hahn joined a podcast by Shane Reardon.
You were right, by the way. It's the Bourbon and Buddy podcast.
Yeah, Bourbon. I was
just fucking with you via text
and the Buddy.
I didn't mean to shake your confidence.
Oh no, it was. Well, I was like, does Odyssey, the actual website, have it wrong?
Shane Reardon's just started another White Sox podcast, White Sox specific podcast called Southsiders.
Oh, okay.
It's like on the third episode, so I assumed it was on that, but no, it's on his older podcast.
Oh, I can't keep up with Shane's podcasts, but
Shane Reardon from the Spiegel or Parkins and Spiegel show on
very enjoyable,
Score.
very enjoyable show, folks.
I was just listening to it before we got on the air tonight. Want to make sure we have the proper accreditation to this story.
Yes. If you're not listening to Spiegel and Parkins, you're missing out on some hearty laughs throughout the day and good insight too.
They are destroying Tony La Russa this afternoon.
What? No way. I can't believe it. It's hard to he's a Hall of Fame type guy. But Han walked us through, and this I'm going to probably be laughing as I read this back, but Han walked us through how the events arrived to him, and they arrived via text as he was coaching first base for his son's little league team.
Have you had to do that for your son's team?
I've coached third. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're
not
well
recently.
You're well aware of Rick Hahn's plight on that fateful day.
Yeah. First is a little bit easier because, third, but once you get to first, you're just like, hey,
the scrutiny is, just the fan backlash. If you make a mistake as a third base coach, you'll hear it for weeks.
You really hear it from the coaches on the bench when when they think the coach should have sent them.
What the fuck are you doing?
Why did you send him? I don't know. He's 8 years old. I'm just
assuming there's all sorts of expletives and everything else.
Not a lot of swearing, but there is a lot of anger still in Little League games, which is why you see these crazy things on Twitter. It's unreal. But this is what he said. He gets a text from Robin saying while he's at first base,
Robin Ventura, manager of the White Sox at that moment.
For those, I just always assume
we might have younger listeners that weren't.
There's only one Robin that we talk about on this podcast. Oh, actually, there's two Robins because I bring up my Robin sometimes. Yes,
that's confusing.
Yes, so Robin Ventura in this case, we have a problem. Sale doesn't want to wear his jersey. I text back. I didn't even know it was a special jersey day. I don't understand. And Ventura texts back. He doesn't like the special jersey. He doesn't want to wear it. So I said, all right, talk him through why we're doing it and figure it out. Then Ventura responded, no, he cut up the jersey. And I responded,
this is the best.
Well, get him another jersey. They got backups. Get him another jersey. Yeah. And then Robin sent me another text. No, you don't understand. He cut up all the jerseys.
All the jerseys.
To then Rick responded.
Chris Sale is working on another level that Rick Hahn had no idea. I mean, Rick Hahn's playing checkers with this. Chris Sale is playing chess. I mean,
and he's probably looking like, why do I have to tell you, Ventura, to just get him another jersey that he cut up and talk this adult male down from the ledge over something that seems really ridiculous. But no, it was much deeper and darker than that, to where Han let Ventura know, I'm going to leave this game, take a shower, and have him meet me in my office.
I looked back at our archives on MajorLeagueAholes.com, and I actually wrote a piece about this. I called it the world's most dangerous uniform. And I have always thought of those, and I think they've gained some popularity again through nostalgia and retro coolness. I've always thought those are the worst uniforms in history in any sport. Of course, I'm not a White Sox fan, but I think White Sox fans have kind of embraced those over the years. And there's versions of that, like your Sunday uniforms are those are the 83, but they're a version of that kind of, but those are better, and those look pretty damn cool these days. But I still feel like those are some of the worst uniforms I've ever seen. So I kind of empathize with Chris Sale. That's where I called him the world's most dangerous uniform, because it made a man lose his fucking mind. And I called him a fucking hero because he stopped the world from being subjected to seeing those uniforms for at least that game once again. So I applaud Chris Sale, whatever it was in 2016, for cutting up those uniforms.
I believe that was the last promotion with those uniforms. So
yeah, who knows who it could set off next time.
Yeah,
we don't want to tempt fate.
Well, I think it might be done. Although that does have one of the cooler Sox hats with the SOX, just really
the
big
is
block.
that dark navy?
Yeah,
or
the
black?
dark navy with the
Dark
block.
Navy,
With the
you're
block.
Right.
That's
That's
great.
What's cool. Yeah, there is cool. There's parts of that are cool, but the blousey, collared,
it was
baggy
fucking comfortable.
Feel.
It's like Costanza was running. He's going to make the uniform more comfortable.
Yeah, make it out of cotton.
Well, don't you? But we all have to agree. You somehow we're always slipping into this goddamn aesthetics, but but the worst part of that was when they wore the shorts the one time and their legs got cut up sliding into the bases.
That's kind of what I associate all this with. Is they weren't, those are different, but I think of the bike shorts. I mean,
yeah,
the logic of that.
Bill Veeck, a constant promoter.
He was a visionary. Yeah. Maybe his visions weren't so great.
Maybe they were drunkenly induced. But
I mean, he's coming. He's being creative. I mean, people could make fun of the bomb diggity and the dookie, but maybe that'll be the staple that takes us to superstardom eventually.
No, as I said it over and over again, I started to annoy myself. So it won't.
We'll work on
that. We won't be hearing this again.
Good, bad, and the fugly. That's where I want to go with this.
Okay, wow, that's original. Anyway, one other thing that you brought to my attention, Mr. Ryan Smith, is also on this podcast. Han talked about his frustration over the season. Ooh. And while I didn't get the whole segment, but
not on our podcast. This is on the Bourbon and
Buddy podcast. Yes. Han said, this year hasn't been easy. There are times I act poorly. For example, I woke up with a sore hand the other day and remembered I punched a file cabinet after a decision in a game. So perhaps this is yet another La Russa Palooza moment because
a decision made in a game. I mean, is that a decision by a third base coach? Maybe, a decision by, a shortstop or a second baseman throwing to the wrong base. Maybe.
Nah,
I don't think so. I think this might be a decision by one Tony La Russa, but we don't know. The other question is how did he wake up and not remember right away why his hand would possibly be
well, that's probably why he was on a podcast called was it called My
Bourbon and a Buddy?
Yeah.
He might have been into the brown goods at some point in that evening where he couldn't handle the reality of what his team looks like right now. But I can't blame him. I mean,
that is a remedy for watching White Sox games.
I'm out of beer. Shit.
Oh man. Well, luckily for you, there's only 3 things left to talk about.
I've got a bunch to talk about, so we're not wrapping this up anytime soon. So let's go.
All right. So moving along, we're going to get into the tweet bag. And this week in the tweet bag, I spurred some conversations when I suggested Jake Berger should be playing. And I was told he was kept out of the game because of his defense, to where I quickly pointed out, then who should we start if we're not starting people because of their defense, because it's complete shit, to where I got a lot of, you're right. But it snowballed into this sentiment by a lot of people, and then I've seen it posted individually, that both Gavin Sheets and Jake Berger are not major league ball players, and it's time to cut loose.
Oh my God.
And I say to you, what the fuck are you talking about? Jake Berger has played in 63 major league games, and Gavin Sheets has played in 105. I do not think their major league careers are washed up. I don't even think they have an accurate sample size yet to see how they're going to fare in the majors.
They say 1,000 at bats essentially tells you what a player is going to be. It takes that long, which is,
we have a long way to go.
Essentially 2 full seasons, to get to that. Maybe more, but wow, that's a quick trigger right there. If you're gonna give up on Jake Berger, especially since he's had the fantastic June you're talking about.
Yeah, I think we all need to take a deep breath and just because we've seen these guys in and out of our lineups for the last couple years, they don't have the in-game experience, and they also neither one really has had the repetition of playing every day. Mm-hmm. And that takes things to a completely different level when you're in there in a routine and you start hitting the ball because you're seeing pitches better, because you're seeing live pitching every day. It's all, I mean, if you're a decent player, that's what happens.
Or if you have a decent manager that keeps you consistently in the lineup or whatever needs to be done. But
and I understand with Mancata coming back, plays third, you've got that issue. You've got
Mancata. Didn't he just get hurt again? Or is he okay now?
No, he's been back for the last 3 games.
Why? No, he fouled a ball off his foot last night or the night before, I thought.
Well, he was in last night's game, unless I had dozed off.
Well,
around
this is the problem with West Coast baseball. It is so fucking late. Ugh. I gotta start those games earlier. My Tigers have been on the West Coast. It's fucking annoying. So
yeah, it was fucking annoying. I had made it into the 6th inning and he wasn't injured. And then I kind of dozed off and I woke up to see they lost 4-1. Yeah, I don't see anything.
Yeah, he left one of these games, but maybe he came right back.
Yeah. So anyway, so I understand you have some tinkering to do with the lineup, but to sit Berger the last 3 games and then the off day today, I mean, God forbid he look a little rusty whenever he plays again. So again, questioning, other than those away splits, like La Russa's thought process there. I don't understand it, but back to the original topic at hand. I don't think it's time to give up on either one. However, we do have this problem where there are not enough positions for these guys to play. So at some point, Rick Hahn has to make a difficult decision on who are we trading for someone that is legitimately going to take this team up a notch. And, you and I talked about last night on In the Hole, and maybe it'll be next week in both podcasts where we talk about potential trades for the White Sox to make. But maybe Jake Berger does go. Maybe Gavin, probably not Gavin. He's a left-handed bat, but you wonder, maybe they do. Someone's going. Someone has to go at the trade deadline if they decide to in either direction. Either way.
It feels like you need to make some moves, and this could be an opportunity to change the course, if not the season, maybe the course of the future at least. So,
and to be quite honest, I would prefer if they started making some moves now.
Well, it could be happening.
Having something in place. Maybe Berger hasn't played the last 3 games because he is in a trade.
Ooh, wow.
That's a possibility. That's a possibility.
I hadn't heard that.
But I mean, is he in a trade? We're about to square off against the AL Central all the way up until the All-Star break after this series was the Giants. It's 14 straight games against the AL Central. I think 4 with the Tigers. But the rest are against Minnesota and Cleveland. And that's who we're chasing. So if you're
kind of critical,
if you're bringing in, if you're going after a power bat or something, bring him in now. We need help in that department. Maybe he can teach the guys how to hit the ball over the fence. Because in the Orioles series, I think I had tweeted out too, we hit the ball hard, but we just don't hit the ball over the fence right now. Yeah. And that was the only way you were going to get runs in that outfield.
So weird, because the same guys were hitting it out of the ballpark last year. So other teams are hitting the ball out of the ballpark at this point in the season, even though everyone was kind of slowed down by the weirdness was going on with the ball early. But that seems to have righted itself, but not for the White Sox. So
no. So it's
even my Tigers are hitting the ball out of the yard right now.
I know. Everyone is, just not the White Sox. So, so in closing, Yeah, my opinion is, and I think Smitty's too, Berger and Sheets are not washed up baseball players.
Yeah, Jesus.
All right, moving along. We're gonna do a little shit we couldn't make up.
Wait, didn't we miss This Day in Sox Misery?
I thought we were gonna. Did you? Oh, you want to do that before the shit we couldn't make up?
Oh.
I don't care.
Hey, it's your show. I'm sorry. I was just following the outline.
I didn't. I thought
we can call an audible.
Let's call an audible, like you like to do to me. How about some shit we could make up? I've been talking too much. I need a break.
All right, that makes perfect sense. Yes, I will take over from here because actually I have many questions for you in this, but some shit you couldn't make up, which is a staple of our In the Hole podcast that just released episode 108. Just some funny things that you wouldn't expect out of baseball that makes it enjoyable, hilarious at times. But one thing came up this week that I was not prepared for at all, and I don't know if many people were, or maybe people knew about this, but I had no idea at least. But Steve Stone, broadcaster for your Chicago White Sox, maybe the best color analyst ever. He's up there. We did our whole rankings of his partnerships with broadcasters throughout his 40-year career, but when he had his anniversary a few weeks ago. But he is multi-talented beyond being a Cy Young Award-winning pitcher, being one of the best broadcasters I've ever heard. He is also a screenwriter and film producer, apparently, as he has revealed that he has been working on and is about to release his own feature film. He's been very mysterious about this announcement. I heard him mention this on the radio kind of in passing, and then it's subsequently been on his Twitter feed. He mentioned he is indeed making a feature film based in fact, but it's about baseball in the future.
Yes.
So, I mean, I think the first thing I think of is, sci-fi movie of some sort. I don't know. But so nobody really knows what it is. He is very confident that it will be well received. It's a fantastic film. I don't know if it's done or when it's being released. The details are sketchy, but I thought it'd be fun to try to figure out what he's making the movie about, or what the title of this movie could possibly be. The first thing that came to my mind, just the obvious, Steve Stone, The Motion Picture.
But
referencing Star Trek, his sci-fi epic.
Well, and also too, when you first tweeted that over to me, I'm like, oh, they're making a documentary film or like a biopic on Steve Stone, but
then people have supposed that, and he's responded to those inquiries, and he says no, not nearly creative enough.
Yeah, so
that's been his response to a biopic. No, not doing that. He has a very creative idea for this film.
Yeah, I mean,
the rest of my ideas are terrible, but I already brought one up to you, but I thought maybe he would reprise the role of the infamous Brian Bosworth in Stone Cold. I think that would be a perfect, that movie definitely needs to be remade. Mid-'80s. Brian Bosworth, if you kids don't know, is a star linebacker, I believe, for Oklahoma, that eventually played for the Seattle Seahawks. That was his career ended when Bo Jackson just ran him over and made him look like a rag doll.
He sure did
on Monday Night Football, I believe. Brian Bosworth was also an action hero. He was much more than just a football player. He was in films such as Stone Cold, which I had completely forgotten about until I started looking up films that had the word stone in it for this bit. It was a tremendous find. Basically, Brian Bosworth is more of a haircut than an athlete or an actor. He had the famous mullets with like weird shit shaved into the side of his head. So I thought that'd be fun. The only other idea I could come up with would be Steve Stone is re-releasing Romancing the Stone. Maybe romance.
Yes, a
romance movie, action/romance movie.
Well, it could be the romantic side of baseball. Perhaps that's
there is a romance to baseball that he is well aware of. So
yeah, maybe. Yeah, I had what did I reply back to you? Stone cold something, and then you said
Stone Cold Facts.
Stone Cold Facts.
That's what made me think of Stone
Stone
Cold.
Cold.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Have you even seen what I'm talking about, or is this all news to you, or did you? I think the only two places I've seen it or have heard about it is one was just part of a radio interview on the Score. I forget who he was with, and then he has tweeted about it, but I haven't seen any other news essentially.
Yeah, I didn't hear about it until you sent that to me. I have heard nothing. I haven't heard him bring it up on the broadcast at all. So,
well, I'll be sure to keep abreast of the situation. I will report back on next week's episode if any news has leaked about this feature film. And I'm dying to know more about this for sure. So,
I mean, I'm interested to see what his. I mean, I just feel it's him and whoever's helping him with the film, their take on what baseball's going to look like in a go forward situation.
Yeah, in 25-22,
500
years from now.
Is it like Baseball Runner, like Blade Runner or something?
Yeah, maybe a bunch of replicants playing baseball. Yeah. You have to find out which ones are real and which ones are more human than human. Who knows?
Yeah, and then like you have to dispose of them.
All right, we're getting too deep into the weeds now.
Anyway,
my next shit you couldn't make up involves the aforementioned Lurie Garcia.
He's awesome.
In TLR's mind, absolutely. But when you look at these statistics, there are some things to be desired. If you're familiar with Fangraphs, I'm assuming.
Oh, I'm very familiar with Fangraphs.
You're familiar with the stat WAR.
I heard, but what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again now.
It's worth something in that you can just compare other players. That's the best way I can describe WAR. You can, with one number, you can say who's having a better year than the other. Out of the 1,265 Major League Baseball players that have played so far this year that are at least eligible to be ranked in WAR, 1,265. What would you guess Lurie Garcia is ranked out of 1,265?
I'll go 1,265.
Nope, he is 1,260.
Oh, well, see, he's not that bad.
There are 5 players that are worse than him in the major leagues. This is FWAR, by the way, since this is Fangraphs.
FWAR.
They have their own way to calculate this. What might make you feel a little bit better is one spot below him at 1,261 would be Detroit Tigers star first baseman Spencer Torkelson.
It doesn't make me feel better because he's a rookie.
Yeah, that's a problem. At 1,262, Robinson Cano, who is no longer playing in Major League Baseball.
I guess we know why.
He's been released. Wow, how many teams? He was with the Mets, then with the Padres, and now he is out of Major League Baseball. Still being paid, I think, $19 million this year. So congrats to him. But I don't remember the rest of the list because they are people that aren't worth mentioning, at least. So I guess that puts things in perspective. Anytime you hear Tony La Russa telling you how great Lurie Garcia is and how things are working, or trying to come up with reasons why he put him in a situation where Jake Berger could have played, Andrew Vaughn could have been pitch hitting last night, but TLR chose Lurie Garcia in favor of that. Just remember, there are only 5 worst players in baseball right now.
Well, what is his FWAR?
I think it's negative 0.9. You okay?
Yeah, I would have thought it would have been like in the 2s or 3s or something.
There's nobody's in the 2s. Like
wow,
that's like -1 is the worst, so he's negative 0.9.
Huh, interesting. I guess because it's earlier in the season.
Correct.
I would
the highest WAR, the best WAR is like 4.3 right now.
I mean, I would consider him a negative 4.3 then.
It's all relative, but
yeah,
yes.
But yeah. So, and just for clarity's sake, for everyone out there, WAR is not based upon position. It's just based upon
everybody. This includes pitchers. I mean, this 1,265 is even pitchers. So that's how crazy this is. But So it's a little unfair, but it's just a relative stat.
I'm not. I don't think it's unfair.
Well, I thought it was too perfect not to bring up, just because it also involves it was another way I could bring up my Tigers, but unfortunately it was in a negative light. But I thought it would sound more fair if I wasn't just picking on Leury Garcia. I'm also picking on Spencer Torkelson.
It's okay. You can pick on him as much as you want. He's worth $3 million a year for the next two years after this one. So,
oh boy,
yeah. Did you have any other shit?
That is it. That is all the shit I couldn't make up.
I mean, you really, wow, that is bad. Well, Andrew Vaughn he's got leg issues like everyone else on the team.
Didn't he have his head in his hand when he was not allowed to pinch hit late in that game?
Probably. I'm sure it was caught on camera.
Rather frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, he also does have some. I'm not defending Tony, but he didn't have a first couple games were not good in the series, which added to he came out to the West Coast with like a 2-19 on the West Coast as a whole. Yeah, since he started, says he's been playing. So I don't know if he gets in his head because he's at home and he's got a bunch of
Tony's
family.
Got the Pacific time zone splits in his binder over there.
Oh no, that Vaughn gets in his own head that his family's there watching and stuff like that. He has to worry about tickets and all kind of crap when he goes out to the West Coast. You got to worry about that ticket shit, man. It gets to you, eats away.
He needs a traveling secretary to handle these things.
He does. So we're going to close out this somewhat disjointed show at the beginning with the on me with the I don't even remember what the segments were. Daduki and the Bomb Diggity.
Let's not recall this at this point.
The good news.
Let's end up strong on your final segment.
The good news is you'll never have to hear it again. All right, moving
on. We decided on air. That's the end of that.
It did not go as smoothly as I thought. In fact, we don't even attempt the good, the bad, and the fugly. We're just going to go back to what we do good, which were the first 3 episodes.
You got to try things. You got to workshop things.
Yeah. I mean, the only way to try it out is while we were doing this, because we don't have endless amounts of time in our day to just record this over and over again. So unfortunately, I hope we don't lose any listeners because of this episode.
I mean, how many do we have to lose to begin
with?
We
got 7 people. I don't want to have 5. So anyway, welcome to a segment which I know Smitty's going to enjoy because he loves making fun of the White Sox. And I kind of enjoy it too, because it's not like I could sit here and pretend like we're the Yankees and we have some awesome storied history it's
funny because you did do that for 10 years on our blog before we started this podcast.
Well,
and I held you accountable face to face.
Was that 05 to 15? I had a 10-year window there. It's over. It's over. The 10-year window's over. By the way,
it was quite a window for you.
By the way, we won the World Series in 2005.
Have you ever mentioned that? Yeah, I believe I remember that. Although most media outlets
Ozzie Guillen was manager. I don't know if people remember that. Anyway, so I thought of this when I was looking over interesting things that occurred on this day in White Sox history, because there's always something that is a bit of a scar, a bit of a black sock, as one might say.
Oh, wow.
On the White Sox.
And, so you're calling this day in Sox misery.
Yes. And back in 1988, this is a historic day where, after years of complaining that the original Comiskey Park was no longer suitable for play by Jerry Reinsdorf and then co-owner and frontman Eddie Einhorn, that the state passed by midnight a bill that would fund the construction of a new stadium for the White Sox, thus keeping them in Chicago and not having them leave for Florida.
That is what the Tropicana Dome now, where the Tampa Bay Rays play, was built for, because they thought they were getting your Chicago White Sox to travel south to fill that ballpark. That was merely a pawn in Jerry Reinsdorf and Eddie Einhorn's game, holding Illinois taxpayers liable for the construction of the stadium costs, which I was paying taxes for the better part of 20 years as I was a homeowner.
Thank you.
I have subsequently moved from Chicago to Michigan, mainly so I do not have to pay for your fucking stadium anymore. That was a key point in my decision making. So I'm no longer paying for your fucking stadium.
You have that right. And I'm glad you exercised it to exercise your demons.
I fought for my rights
to party.
Yes.
Anyway, so
need a goddamn beer.
Probably the funniest thing on this whole thing is what Smitty just brought up, because somehow Florida baseball fans, and I hate to call out an entire state, but we're not talking about the brightest individuals, were shocked when they realized they were just pawns in this game to stay in Chicago. So I just want to be clear. You were shocked that you were used as leverage to keep a team in like the third largest market in the country. I know, it's shocking.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. I'm not sure how many times that type of game was played at that point. You mentioned this,
it's a dangerous game.
I think cynicism has taken over our culture since that, maybe because of the White Sox. Maybe they played a key role in our culture shifting to an age of cynicism. No, of course. That was naive of the Florida. I mean, they built the goddamn stadium before they had a team, which is hilarious. They were eventually rewarded with what was a terrible franchise for 20 years, and the Devil Rays originally, who have subsequently turned it around through shrewd maneuvering and business practices, but it has taken a long time. Meanwhile, they are still stuck with the concrete blister that is Tropicana Field, originally basically set into motion by your Chicago White Sox.
Yes. Did you know that how they're now the Rays, not the Devil Rays? And did you know the Rays now just represent the rays of sunshine?
I'm well aware of that because one of my former clients was the Rays AA affiliate, the Montgomery Biscuits. And I was present when that transition happened. So I was given all of their new branding materials and the full explanation. Actually, you can see it in their logo. There are rays of sunshine throughout.
Yeah. Wow.
So as opposed to the actual fish.
Yes. They're no longer a fish.
No.
All right. Well,
another aesthetic almost to end the show. So thank you.
That's going to wrap up this week's.
You're wrapping this up. Okay.
Yeah. It's time to put this episode out of its misery. And regroup for next week's episode.
I think we can learn many things. I think we'll re-listen to this over the week. Maybe we'll find out that people really love this one. Maybe there's kernels of ideas that we can carry forward. Some things we can put on the cutting room floor. Let's wrap up this episode 4 of Sox Type Thing. You can find this Sox Type Thing anywhere you'd like to find a podcast. Pete is dominating social media, specifically Twitter at Sox Type Thing. And you can find the website if you go to soxtypething.com. So with that, I'm going to declare
this podcast is thankfully over. Peace.
Peace.
Word Hole Media.